All right, hello everybody. Excited to see you all here tonight. We're just going to give
Hello.
people a few more minutes to filter in here before we start. Okay, are you ready to begin, Dr. KayLa?
I am.
Okay. All right, well, good evening, everybody. Welcome to Empowered Families, Tools for Mental Health and Resilience. We're so glad that you could join us tonight. My name is Kelly Drake, and I'm the Chief Program Officer at Wisconsin Family Ties. And we're a statewide nonprofit org that's dedicated to improving children's mental health and strengthening families through education, advocacy, and support. So tonight's topic is identity development and effective parental support, growing with your child, which focuses on one of the most meaningful parts of parenting, helping our children understand who they are and celebrating who they're becoming. And we are so happy and honored to welcome our guest speaker, Dr. KayLa N, who is the founder of Dear Mixed Girl. She's nationally recognized for her work on identity development, belonging, and inclusion, and she brings a deep understanding of how families can support children in discovering their identities with confidence and love. So, Dr. Young, thank you so much for being with us here tonight, and I'll turn it over to you to get us started.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for being here this evening. Tonight, we are talking about identity in its entirety, and it is a big word. I'm going to start off by sharing a little bit of a story. I remember when I was about 10 years old, and I was trying to figure out who I was, but I didn't know that just yet. I was trying to figure out, should I be fitting with my friends, or should I wear the clothes that I want, or is it okay to listen to opera at 10? Is that strange? How people question and judge me. I had lots of questions going on, a whole lot. And I wanted to understand more about who I was. Now, I'm sure that's happening in your home just as well. Parenting is not something that we just know how to do. A child can be very different from one to the next. The way that they talk, the way that they think, the jokes they come up with, all the things. I mean, you can even think about having a child that is the one that likes to give those kinds of jokes, or the person that is very, very quiet and is just that bookworm. They're very different. But it doesn't mean that we shouldn't validate their truth. Those questions like, who am I? Where do I belong? And what matters to me? They all matter. So, over this next bit of time, this 45 minutes or so, we're going to talk about how identity develops, what support looks like in real time, and how you can create belonging even when life gets a little loud. You'll see different polls and whiteboard moments where you can be interactive in the moment with us. And yes, this is a good time for you to participate, so don't be scared. Be honest and be real. This is a safe place. Make sure that you're ready to take some notes, learn, and grow. Why does this topic matter? This conversation is huge. It's not one that we typically have. It might be something we talk about in passing. We might talk about culture. We might talk about things that are important to our families or our upbringing, religion, all that kind of stuff. But when we think about identity at its depth, at its truth, it's not just a word. It's not just a moment. It's not just a passing thought. It is literally an entire lifetime. And it starts at home. You, as an adult, you're evolving right now. Your identity is surely much different than it was 10, 15, 20 years ago. We expect to grow over time. Children are learning more and more about what it means to be confident, what it means to be resilient. And in that, with your support, they are learning how to thrive in school, in life, in relationships. The real truth is that identity doesn't form in isolation. It forms in relationships, especially the relationship between a parent and a child. You think about it, from the time your child is born, you're teaching them who they are by the way you respond, the way you celebrate, what you allow, and by what you model. If your child knows no matter what's going on, I belong here, they'll explore the world differently. They'll start taking risks, they'll try new things, they'll handle setbacks with more grace. The good news here is that you do not have to have a psychology degree, you do not have to have a therapist background or anything else to make that a reality. You just have to be intentional. We're going to walk through what that looks like together. What is identity development? What do we really mean by that? In simple terms, it's how your child begins to answer a few different questions. One of them, who am I? Second one, who do I belong? Where do I belong? Third, what do I believe in or value? The process starts early, even in preschool, and continues through adulthood. As I mentioned, we're all still evolving. It's not something that your child finishes. You don't reach one level and say, oh, check mark, this one's done. I've got it. I've learned it for life. I'm set. That's not how that goes. It would be nice, but it doesn't work that way. It's something we all grow through stage by stage. If you've ever noticed your child changing interests every few months, new hobbies, friends, clothes, etc., that's identity working in motion. It is coming to life. Sometimes it looks a little messy, but that's very normal. We are not perfect people. Messy is part of becoming. Here's the key idea. When parents make room for exploration while offering security, kids develop confidence. Your role isn't to fix who they're becoming, it's to provide safety while they figure it out. You might say, I see you trying new things and I'm proud of how you're learning who you are. That sentence can do more for their identity than a dozen lectures ever could. How identity grows, ages and stages. Now, we won't get into the weeds about this, but I do have a couple of little notes in there in terms of some references that you can look at later, and they are linked at the end as well. But psychologist Eric Erickson talked about stages of development. And he broke it down pretty well. It's quite thorough, if I might say so myself. Each stage builds on the one before it. I promise we're not doing a lecture here, we're just learning pieces of the puzzle, okay? But this one really, really matters. It's part of the framework. In early childhood, from ages 1 to 3, the main task is autonomy versus shame and doubt. That's when your child learns independence. Remember when your toddler said, I can do it, or even cuter, me do it, mommy. That's autonomy. In the school years, ages 6 to 12, it becomes industry versus inferiority. They're trying to figure it out. Can I do things well? That's why small wins matter. In adolescence, the big one that we love, I know you love to see your teenager rolling their eyes at you. This is where they start testing values, boundaries, and belonging. Here's my favorite part. Again, each stage adds to the next. So the trust that you build when they're small becomes a foundation they stand on when they're older. It's not about perfection, it's about progression. So if you ever think I messed up that stage, no, you didn't. You're still in it with them. Kids do not need a flawless parent. There's no need for you to be perfect. They need a consistent one. So here we are at our first poll. I know it came up quickly, but let's do this together. When you hear the word identity, what comes to mind first? You can feel free to speak it out loud. You can write it in the chat.
Like we have an even split between knowing what I value, belonging, feeling accepted. Oh, that's one's actually in the lead right now, belonging and feeling accepted. And now culture and family background took the lead.
The honesty here is the most important thing. We should be thinking differently. Identity is not this word you put it in a box and say, here you go. This is what it is and forever will be. There's so many parts to it, and it's important that you honor each part. I love that there's a mixture of responses because that means that you are truly thinking, you are truly saying, this is a part of my life. This is what I understand. This is where I am. Identity is not just one thing, it's a combination. For some, it's about belonging, for others, it's about purpose, for others, it's about roots and background. This is what I want you to remember. Whatever came to mind first probably tells you what you value most as a parent. That value becomes part of the environment you create for your child. What shapes identity? Identity is shaped by a mix of factors: family, peers, school, community, and now more than ever, the media. Oh, the media. There is so much going on all the time. You're in constant consumption mode. The good news here is that many studies, many bits of research keep reminding us that family influence doesn't disappear just because peers or the screen gets a little bit louder. Your voice still cuts through the noise. Think about it this way: the way you talk about other people, the way you handle stress, the way you show kindness, that's all identity modeling. If you want your child to value empathy, let them see you being kind when no one is watching. If you want them to be confident, let them see you handle mistakes with grace. They're watching, not for perfection, but for pattern. So I want you to think right now, what messages might your daily actions be sending about identity right now? And if you just thought of something you'd like to change, congratulations, that's growth too. Why family still matters. I know sometimes it feels like your child's peers have more influence than you do. It may seem that way. Let me reassure you, they don't. You're still the most powerful voice in their world, even if it doesn't always sound like it. Family functioning, how you talk, how you solve problems, how you show love, has a bigger impact than social media ever will. It's in the small moments, sitting together at dinner, listening without rushing to fix it, following through when you say you will. Those small, boring, ordinary moments are the soil where identity grows. So even when your team gives you that please stop talking look, stay in it. They may not show it, but your presence is what is steadying them. The foundation you're building now will be the voice they hear later when they make big decisions. So, on to the whiteboard moment. I'm going to switch things up and hear from you. In one or two words, describe what effective parental support looks like. Again, type whatever comes to mind first. I'll give you a moment here.
Non-judgmental. No, can you see these pop up, KayLa? I can let you read them.
I can't.
Okay, so we have non-judgmental, safety and security, support and love, listening, responding, another listening.
Yep, they're coming in slowly now. I see them coming in.
Okay.
These are really, really good. Very true. Parental support differs from parent to parent, and it should. I mean, the way that we lead our lives, the way that we are present, even the careers we have, all these things affect the way that we move and groove through life, right? Words that represent things like patience and encouragement and humor, listening, presence, all of them matter. They are 100% on target. This is a moment, this is a visual reminder that there is no single formula for great parenting. There's diversity in how we show support, and that's what makes it powerful. So look at those words again, yours and the others, and just think for a brief moment, which one would you say represents your strength and which one might be your growth area? That's your personal takeaway from this moment. Protective factors at home. We talked about protection. Usually do with our children, with family members, loved ones, people that we really, really care about. But we don't mean that we are going to wrap them in bubble wrap and protect them from the world. No matter how hard we try, that is not possible. We're talking about resilience here. Protective factors are the things that we think about every day, those things that keep kids grounded, even when life gets hard. And here are three of the biggest ones: belonging, which is knowing that there is a safe place to return to. Warm routines. These are family rhythms that communicate stability. Cultural pride. This is representation that tells your child you come from something good. It's like armor, but the kind made from love, not control. So here's another question just for reflection. Which of these feels strongest in your home right now? If belonging is your strength, double down on it. If routines could use work, start with one simple change this week. We're not aiming for perfect families, we're aiming for connected ones. Common risk factors that we can buffer. So let's talk about them. There are things that can chip away at belonging if we're not paying attention. Bullying, exclusion, comparison, even well intentioned silence about identity can leave a gap that kids try to fill on their own. I know that I went through that for sure and certain. I didn't speak about it as a child, but I was bullied. I had all the questions about my identity, about why my hair looked a little different, why I talked a little different, and again back to the moment of opera. Why are you this and that years old and you were listening to opera? That's weird. Those moments are tough. Kids suck it in and try to understand it, but they can't because it's not theirs to handle. It's something that we have to be intentional about and communicate about so that they can understand it at a deeper level and we can help them navigate through it. The tough part is that sometimes in school there's mixed messages about identity. Phrases like, we don't see color, everyone's the same. It sounds nice and there's validity to it, of course, but kids can interpret that as parts of me don't belong here or who I am doesn't matter. So as parents, we can buffer that by having open conversations at home. Talk about difference in a way that's honest and affirming. Remember that if your child faces something unfair or that's isolating, your reaction teaches them how to handle it. Be careful. Remember, your face speaks volumes. You don't have to fix it. You just have to say, that shouldn't have happened. And I'm here with you. That's how kids learn resilience, through repair and presence. Let's do another poll here. What's strongest in your home today? Belonging, feeling seen, open dialogue, shared routines, cultural pride, or representation?
When dialogue is in the lead, followed by belonging and feeling seen. Shared routines is third.
I'm seeing more and more people are leaning toward B, and I might be able to validate you on that and say that it is very, very, very important to have those conversations, and not just to have them, but to be honest, be present, Put your ego in your back pocket. Put mom's I'm a mama bear in the cage for just a moment and be present. Having those conversations can be critical. Shutting down can create false messages. You could be teaching your child, maybe I'm supposed to just bottle this up because it is not a safe moment. I don't feel comfortable telling my truth. But this is what I want you to remember. You already have strength. We're not starting from zero here. We're building from what's already working in your home and in you. So if you pick belonging, great. Build more moments like that. Communicate. You are seen. Just saying that. If you pick routine, keep those rituals steady. And if you pick dialogue, keep those conversations going. Even the messy ones count. Celebrating diversity at home. Let's talk about something joyful. Celebration. Celebrating diversity doesn't mean you need a Pinterest perfect calendar of cultural holidays. It means intentionally reflecting the beauty of who your family is. That can look like reading bedtime stories with characters who look like your kids. It can sound like music that honors your heritage. It can taste like recipes that tell a story. Oh, great grandma's arroz con leche. Hold close. Those things are so special. And here's one thing you might not expect. It can even look like curiosity. Ask your child questions about what makes them feel connected. You might be surprised by the answers. One parent once told me, I realized my daughter just wanted me to learn her favorite K-pop song lyrics. That's what made her feel seen. Connection is in the details. And schools love when parents share these traditions too. You don't have to lead an event. Sometimes just telling a teacher about a family story adds representation to a classroom. As kids grow, support shifts. This is where things get more and more interesting. As kids grow, your parenting style has to evolve too. It has to. What worked when you were talking to your sweet, precious little one? Oh my goodness, I love you so much. You're beautiful. You have daddy's eyes. I can't wait till you grow up and get married. I'm so excited that you're in my life. Will not work with that teen that is rolling their eyes at you. It won't work, I promise. It might sound nice. You might think about it in the back of your head, but that will not work in that moment. Your kids, younger kids, they need structure and emotional naming. You help them put words to feelings. Teens, they need voice and respect. They want to be heard, not managed. Don't take respect the wrong way here. Respect does not mean you are giving them authority or that you're saying, now you take over and I'm going to back off as a parent. That's not what that means. That means accepting something in the moment. That means taking their truth and accepting that what that is. That is what it is. You're not putting them in a position of power. You're giving them some autonomy while you are creating some structure in their lives, helping them to stand up for themselves and have their own voices. I get that it's easier said than done, but here's a thought. Instead of seeing conflict as defiance, what if you saw it as practice? Practice for independence, practice for leadership, practice for adulthood. All of those things are happening, believe it or not. Your teen pushing back isn't rebellion. It's like rehearsal. So when they test boundaries, take a breath and say to yourself, this is them practicing who they are. Keep your voice calm. Keep your boundaries clear. Keep your relationship strong. Support doesn't look the same every year, but it should always sound like love. Here's an example. I'll tell you a quick story. Something that can happen in anyone's house, of course. My mom came to me and said, a mom came to me and said, my 13-year-old daughter switched lunch tables again. I asked why, and she said, I just didn't feel like I fit there anymore. I wanted to know her to stick it out. Something told me to listen instead. So she asked, where did you feel most yourself today? And her daughter paused and said, "In art class." That simple question turned into a deeper conversation. It became the new after school ritual. Where did you feel most yourself today? It's identity work, it's connection, and that parenting from presence, not panic. The next week, that mom told me her daughter came home smiling, and said, "I made a new friend today. She's in art class too." Sometimes it's that one question, that one opening that helps your child step into who they are. Like I said, this is something that can happen in every single home. I remember being a child that was not very verbal in terms of having these open conversations. And sometimes I really would be questioning where I was supposed to be, as I mentioned. And I had a similar situation to this case story. This is not me, my scenario. But I remember even in high school, I was asking myself, where do I belong in this moment? I'm the band nerd. I love being in calculus, and I am a very linguistic, connected person. I'm a polyglot. And where am I supposed to fit? I don't belong in this exact pocket, but I don't exactly belong over here because it doesn't align with my truth. So even inside, when I went to the lunchroom, where do I sit? Do I sit with this group or that group? And these are questions that happen all the time. I'm sure even in your adulthood, you've seen that question pop up for yourself. You're trying to figure out, I'm in a new job and I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing in terms of, should I go and hang out? I heard that there's an office party. Should I go to that? Some people are going out to go sing karaoke afterward. Do I really want to show that part of me? This is all real. And we have to understand that it is happening every single day for our children, for ourselves, and understand that we have to be able to find ways to navigate through. The only way to do that is to truly be present and to not allow some of that outside noise to become the overpowering voice in the room that consumes everything. I promise this wouldn't be a college course, but some things are very, very encouraging. In plain language here, families who stay connected, those people that keep talking, the ones that keep showing up, and the ones who prepare when things go wrong, they raise kids who have higher self worth. Now, what does that mean? That means that you have taken on a new identity in this season of parenting where you are choosing to be there. You are choosing to continue to have those hard conversations. You are choosing to try to find moments to face whatever may be going on. I remember talking to a friend just recently, and she was speaking about her daughter, saying that, my daughter has become a person that I don't recognize. Now, mind you, she's 13. She has come into a new phase of life. Lots of things are changing. And I had to remind her, in every stage of life that we go through, there will be people that we do and don't understand. There will be scenarios that we do and don't know how to walk through. However, what is always present, what always should be present, that is empathy. Your kid may be going through some things in life that you're like, man, I don't understand why that's affecting you like that. It's not that big of a deal. That's how it might feel to you. But remember, your child is having an experience that is wholly unlike yours. Or maybe you are a person that had to go through a lot of struggle, and now your kid is seemingly skating down easy street. They don't have to face struggle. They don't even understand what struggle means, but they do still have challenges. So that's where you have to be able to step in and say, to yourself, this is not my scenario. This is not my life. My child is going through a difficult situation, and I'm going to do what I can to get in the mud with her, with him, with all of them, because that's what might be needed in that moment. It can be very, very important to do so. You have to be that person that shows up even when you're tired, even when you have had the absolute worst day, Even when you are hearing all three of the kids, Mommy, I forgot. I forgot to tell you tomorrow I have a presentation that's due. You don't have a poster or anything. Even if that's happening, you have to be present. You have to show up. One thing that I know a lot of people may be having some challenges with, this is something that as a society we are learning over time. We have to be able to say sorry when we need to and be genuine about it. You made a mistake. You had an outburst. Your child comes to you and tells you something horrible is going on and you shut them down. You need to say, I'm sorry, and truly mean it. You are modeling something in their lives at that very moment that they need to learn from. How you respond matters. You have to, even still, keep that door open, even after the hard days have come and gone. Keep the door open. Not every day is going to be beautiful and filled with rainbows and sunshine. That would be fabulous. But it's not possible. You have to be present in the moment and be able to evolve over time. Connection outlasts conflict every single time. Every time. I remember as a child when I was starting to get a little too big for my britches, so to speak. And I found myself trying to stand out a little bit more in high school, trying to find myself, I spoke about not knowing where to fit in. And in those moments, I'd be like, I want to wear this and I want to wear that, telling my mom, and she'd be like, well, you can't wear that. That's too this, that's too that. And in comes my grandmother, yes, she can, trying to be super protective. And I know that all those crazy conversations, all those moments where I felt like, my mom does not get it. She does not see me. She does not understand me. I know all of those things were valid. They needed to happen. And it's a part of my life story. And the same goes for you. Everything that's happening right now, everything that has happened is challenging you to become someone different. It's challenging you to be more and more present with your child. That's just reality. Tools you can use. We're going to think about these a bit here. When we think about nourishing our child and truly being present, there are things that we have to do over time. There are things that we learn even as adults. We learn lessons and they become wisdom. And the same thing goes for a toolbox. The same thing goes if we use the analogy of a mental garden, so to speak. You take one seed, you plant it. Is that all you do? You walk away and say, oh, well, I've done the thing. I've had this conversation with my child. I've given them that information and now it's done. No, that's not how that works. The garden has to continue to be nurtured. You have to keep showing up and adding more water, finding new fertilizer, changing the way that the light is coming into the room, so to speak. And the same thing goes with this toolbox scenario. Everything that you are learning from your child becomes your wisdom. Everything that they are learning from you becomes a tool to put in that toolbox. Now, does it mean that they can all of a sudden decide that they're going to change a light bulb with a hammer? No, they have to know how to use the tools in the toolbox, and you teach them to do so. So, the first tool here, a proud prompt. And this will look different for person to person. You decide how you want to carry it out. You can ask questions like, what made you feel proud today? And give them a moment. A kid or two might say, I don't know what made me feel proud. I don't know what made me feel like I was happy today. Give them a moment. It opens the conversation. It creates dialogue without feeling heavy. One way to do that in a slightly different way, a rose and a thorn. I've heard this on multiple occasions. What was your rose? What was your thorn today? You ask, what was the beautiful thing that happened, the wonderful thing that happened? And it doesn't have to be something dramatic. It could be something small. At lunch, They have my favorite tacos, and my friend brought me a new book that she was reading, and I'm so excited about it. That's a beautiful thing. What was the thorn? Okay. Well, I forgot my phone in the cafeteria, and then I didn't know where it was, and I couldn't find it until the end of the day. That was the thing that made me frustrated. Now, again, this is not for you to assess. This is not for you to be like, oh, well, that sounds wonderful, and that's the best thing that's going to happen all week, and hype it up. I mean, yes, be present, of course, and let them feel their emotions. Let them be present. Let them allow that space to be there. Same with the other side of things. This is not for you to drive them down into the dirt. This is not for you to become angry and say, hey, well, you should have found that phone, and I can't believe you left it in the cafeteria. I told you, blah, blah, blah. Not very helpful. You just need to be present. Rule number 2, culture in action. Once a week, you can do something that celebrates your family's uniqueness. It could be a song, a recipe, a story, or even a show that makes you feel like you. I encourage that. Culture looks so very, very different from one person to one person, from one family to another family, and it's something that we should embrace. Too often we just assume that our children are just aware, and they aren't always. It's that moment of who am I? It's that moment of what makes me me. It's that moment that pushes you and your child into a position to say, this is what's happening in life, and I'm so proud to be who I am. Identity at its core. I know one thing that's very, very important for me, even when it comes to culture in my adulthood, I try to find moments where I express my culture. I try to find moments where I allow my ancestry, my genealogy to be big, bold, and beautiful. And it's a good thing. Everyone should be proud to be who they are, no matter what they are facing. And that is surely just as important in children. Tool number 3, the 2-door check-in. When your child comes to you upset, you ask them, do you want me to listen, or do you want me to help you find solutions? That might be hard, especially if you see your babies crying, especially if you see that they are just absolutely having a horrible day. You see it all over their face and you just don't know what's going on. You have to take a step back and breathe. Giving them that option of just having a listening ear can open so many doors. But you have to be patient in that. Allow them to tell you everything they are feeling, no matter what it looks like, no matter if they tell you, I need a moment, I need to pause, I need 5 minutes, I'm going to come right back and talk to you about it. You need to give them that option. You deserve it too, even as an adult. We all do. If they want you to give them some solutions, brainstorm with them. Don't become overpowering. Don't think you have all the answers, because I can guarantee you, mama, daddy, everybody, you don't have all the answers. That's where the brainstorming comes in. That's where you come together as parent, as child, as caregiver, as child, as teacher, as child, whoever you may be. You come together to create solutions. You don't become this big overarching cloud that's in the room that is just creating more and more difficulties in the space. You have to create with child. It's co-creation. Those questions, do you want me to listen, or do you want me to help you find solutions? They build emotional safety and respect. That big word of safety, back to the bubble wrap scenario. Yes, we want to protect. Yes, we want to rescue. Yes, we want to know that we can somehow or another fix the situation, make it disappear. It's never going to come back. But we can't always do that. So in the moment, we have to be ready to do what we can. Be present, have compassion, have some empathy in there so that you can find better solutions. You don't need to try all of these tools right away. I don't want you to think, oh, well, this is happening. Rapid fire. Let me put it all out there. I have all the answers. Here you go. Blah, word vomit. Not helpful. So start with one and be consistent. That's where the change starts to happen. Goal 3. Let's see which one stands out to you. Which tool are you more likely to try first? Choose one that feels doable for your family now. How is taking over? Okay. Our is seemingly taking the lead. I will run with it. Those moments where we can be very verbal, where we can be quite honest, they matter. They really, really do. Sometimes it's just those small little words. It's that small moment where even you're hugging your child and saying, I'm so proud of you. I really am. I see you. I understand. I'm here with you. And I'm going to continue to be present. Those little moments matter. I will say this with this question and the answer you chose. It's not about which one you chose. It's that you are choosing. These are literally your toolbox moments. You create them. Every small step you take towards connection, it plants a seed for confidence and resilience. So whatever you picked, you own that. Write it down. Talk about it at dinner. Make it a thing. Consistency turns intention into transformation. Build a routine. Morning, after school, evening, or with a small belonging routine. This here doesn't mean that you have to pick one necessarily. This just means that I want you to think about something that you can start to do now. Something in the morning and say their name with love. Ashley, I love you, baby. It can sound like something after school. Hey, how did it go? It can be in the evening. You want to start something like a gratitude moment. What's 3 things that we are so grateful for today? Our amazing meal, our beautiful home, and our time with them. Creating a routine. So, what's something that you can do? The Rose and the Thorn is a good one, right? I love that one. Honestly, I think that heard that on the Kardashians. I really do. Don't judge me. But I heard it and it made sense because so often we get into that time where we're like, how was your day? Fine. What was fine about it? I don't know. It's just so blanketed. But when you have that conversation, you're actually giving a cue. Okay, what was good? Let's really think about it. Reel it back. What was good? What made you feel good? What was the challenge? How can we tackle it? Getting raw and real, it matters. You're having those real conversations, and it might seem boring to somebody, but you're creating a moment that's really, really valuable. We have access to the slides after the webinar. I can definitely give them to you. Definitely can. I'd love for you to have this. Let's get John here. If you didn't answer, or you're still thinking, I would encourage you to take a moment to write it down. If you didn't want to share it here, feel a little too personal, you feel a little too rushed, take some notes, write it down, and accept it into your routine. Building a routine matters. It's almost like creating a habit. We have to keep doing something so it becomes something natural and normal and something that's a feel good thing that's truly nourishing. I know there's something pop up. Finding a way to engage and be interested to encourage conversation. Most definitely. Very, very good. So we have come to the end of things. I know our time has flown by. I can sit and talk to you about all of this stuff forever and a day, I'm sure. But here are some key takeaways, okay? First, your presence and belonging build identity. That love, that acceptance, those moments that you are truly being present, they matter. Again, kids don't need perfect parents. They do not. They need consistent ones. Second, what you model matters more than what you say. Examples, the things that you are doing. This is not a do what I say, not what I do moment. Not at all. You have to set an example for them because they're seeing, they're watching, they're hearing, and accepting that as some part of their truth. You have to live the lessons that you want them to learn. Third, keep the conversation going. Talk early, talk often, talk honestly. Please, 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 please don't create moments where you are trying to sugarcoat situations. Be present, be raw, be real, and treat your child like the human being, the growing person that they are. Even if it feels awkward, even if it's something that's foreign or something that you didn't experience as a child, doing that will truly make a difference. Fourth, curiosity beats control. Ask those questions. Invite reflection, not rebellion. This is not a time where you are getting in the ring with your child. You're at one end, they're at the other, and you're having a battle of conversation. That's not what this is. It's about being present. It's about showing up when it's challenging. It's about having that open door of communication because you are teaching your child this is what it means to be present. This is what it means for me to be confident in my moment. This is what it means for me to be stronger and learn how to overcome all those ugly moments, those crazy judgments that are happening, and those moments when I'm trying to figure out just who am I? Building strength. And the last thing on there, consistency creates confidence. Routines you repeat become the roots they grow from. I want you to remember identity is not a destination. It's a journey you take together. So this week, practice one of those small things. Ask one question, start one routine. You'll be amazed by how those connections deepen. And your presence leads the way. So before I let you go, I want to say thank you. Thank you for showing up for your kids first and foremost. Thank you for doing this work even when it's hard. I know parenting is not easy. There is nothing at all that is easy about it. And none of us have a rule book. We don't. You were doing the work by showing up. You were doing the work by trying. You were doing the work by trying to figure out what does it mean for me to be emotionally intelligent so I can show up for my child and teach them with character and confidence, true identity embracing looks like. Your children will remember how you made them feel more than anything else. So tonight, when you tuck them in or when you send that text that says, I love you, know that you are shaping something sacred. There's simple stuff. I'll see you next time for part 2 of our series. And until then, you keep showing up, keep growing, and keep leading with love. Just the references I was telling you, you have access to the link. Now, this message is for you, to you, and as a reminder, this is for you to share with somebody and to grow through. Thank you for being here. Any questions, comments? You're very welcome.
Hey, before y'all go, I'm going to put a survey link in the chat. If you could fill that out for us, that would be very helpful as it helps us shape future sessions and make sure we're meeting the needs of families across Wisconsin. And I'll also be sharing that in a follow-up email along with Dr. Kayla's slides and a really helpful follow-up key takeaway sheet that she has provided for us too. So watch out for those in your email after this webinar concludes. Thank you everybody so much for coming again. We always have a great time in these monthly webinars, and we hope you'll join us again next month for session 2 of Dr. Kayla's presentation series. It's going to be another great webinar, and we hope you'll find time in your schedule to join us again. But we thank you so much for joining us, and we hope you have a great rest of your evening.
Thank you, everyone. You're so very welcome. Somebody said, what day is the next